Hello, this is Rodney from rodneysblog.net and Rodney Trevino YouTube channel. And today we're going to continue reading in Genesis chapter 21, the birth of Isaac. Now the Lord was gracious to Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did for Sarah what he promised. Sarah became pregnant and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the very time God had promised him. Abraham gave the name Isaac to the son Sarah bore him. When his son Isaac was 8 days old, Abraham circumcised him as God commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born. So as you can see here, the promise was finally fulfilled at 100 years old. And as I said before in previous chapters, God will do things like this on purpose and wait till things seem absolutely impossible before he blesses you with a miracle. And that's meant to build our faith, to show us that there's nothing too hard for him to do. Verse 6, Sarah said, God has brought me laughter, and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me. And she added, who would have said that Abraham, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse a children? Yet I have borne him a son in his old age. And of course, the previous chapters, the angels from God said that. But also, a lot of the names in the Bible that were given are have meaning. Like, for example, the name Isaac means he laughs. So the child brought a lot of joy and a lot of laughter. Hagar and Ishmael sent away. The child grew and was weaned, and on the day Isaac was weaned, Abraham held a great feast. But Sarah saw that the son whom Hagar the Egyptian had borne to Abraham was mocking. And she said to Abraham, get rid of that slave woman and her son, for that woman's son will never share in the inheritance with my son Isaac. So that's pretty straightforward, self-explanatory there. The matter distressed Abraham greatly because it concerned his son. But God said to him, do not be so distressed about the boy and your slave woman. Listen to whatever Sarah tells you, because it is through Isaac that your offspring will be reckoned. I will make the son of the slave into a nation also, because he is your offspring. And as we talked about in previous chapters, the Arab people came from Hagar and her child Ishmael. And in verse 14, early the next morning, Abraham took some food and a skin of water and gave them to Hagar. He set them on her shoulders and then sent her off with the boy. But she went on her way and wandered in the desert of Beersheba. When the water and the skin was gone, she put the boy under one of the bushes. Then she went off and sat down about a bow shot away, for she thought, I cannot watch the boy die. And she sat there. And as she sat there, she began to sob. So they were in the desert. They ran out of water. When you're in the desert, you don't have water. You usually, going to die. So this is going on. Verse 17, God heard the boy crying, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, what is the matter, Hagar? Do not be afraid. God has heard the boy crying as he lies there. Lift the boy up and take him by the hand, and I will make him into a great nation. So what we see here is that God's eye was still on Hagar, and her son was still mindful of him and concerned for him, and was still going to take care of him, even though Abraham sent him away. In verse 19, then God opened the eyes opened her eyes and she saw a well of water. So she didn't even notice it was a well right there. She didn't even notice that. But the angel brought that to her attention. So she went and filled the skin with water and gave the boy drink. God was with the boy as he grew up. He lived in the desert and became an archer. While he was living in the desert of Paran, his mother got a wife from him from Egypt. The treaty at Beersheba. At that time, Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his forces, said to Abraham, God is with you in everything you do. Now swear to me here before God that you will not deal falsely with me or my children or my descendants. Show me in the country where you now reside as a foreigner the same kindness I have shown you. So as you recall, Abimelech had taken Sarah in as his wife into his harem because uh, Abraham had said that she's my sister, and God warned Abimelech in a dream that he was going to die because of that. So, he treated Abraham kindly, and he was asking for Abraham to do the same for him because he had the foresight and the knowledge to see that God was with Abraham and was going to make him into a great nation. So he's asking Abraham to to not turn on him, basically, not turn on his descendants, and said, "Show me kindness as I have shown you." And Abraham said, "I swear it." Then Abraham complained to Abimelech about a well of water that Abimelech's servants had seized. But Abimelech said, "I don't know who has done this. You did not tell me, and I heard about it only today." So Abimelech is innocent in that matter. He didn't know what was going on. Verse 27, so Abraham brought sheep and cattle and gave them to Abimelech, and the two men made a treaty. Abraham set apart 7 ewe lambs from the flock. And Abimelech asked Abraham, "What is the meaning of these 7 ewe lambs you have set apart by themselves?" He replied, "Accept these 7 lambs from my hand as a witness that I dug this well." So the place was called Beersheba because the 2 men swore an oath there. And I believe Beersheba means 7 lambs of the well, or it means the well of an oath. The oath. I'm not sure exactly what it means, but something along those lines. In verse 32, after the treaty was made with Beersheba, Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his forces, returned to the land of the Philistines. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba, and there he called on the name of the Lord, the eternal God, and Abraham stayed in the land of the Philistines for a long time. So in chapter 21 of Genesis is when we finally see Abraham have his child at age 100. God had been promising him for many years that he will build a great nation out of his offspring. And so we finally see the promise fulfilled, at least part of it. Abraham didn't live long enough to see what his descendants would become. But as you all know, the descendants of Abraham became the Jewish people, the Israelites. So they basically flourished and are still flourishing today because of God's promises. So thank you for reading. Thank you for viewing, and I hope you have a great day. All right, bye-bye.